Amy and Michael's divorce. Michael has yet to come out publicly and speak on their split, but the other day I was on Instagram and his Instagram page actually got recommended to me, and I clicked on his page and I was actually shocked to see that he was actually responding to people in the comments. Michael barely posts or responds to comments, so this was a rare occurrence, but one person said that they think it's kind of crazy that the tabloids can put your business out there and make you feel unsafe because of the way they portrayed you on television. Now you're getting a whole bunch of hate for the clips that they picked to show. And Mike responded and said, right. And then someone else said, I hope you're helping with your boys now. And he responded and he said, I've been helping with the boys. She just likes to lie about some stuff. Someone else said, if you helped, then why didn't you fight for her? I feel like there's something you're leaving out here, Mike. She was devastated and you didn't care. And he said the show doesn't show everything. They only pick what they think y'all want to see. So I'm curious what he means by that. I wish he would be more specific, but I'm sure he's still under an NDA because I know most of these reality stars, once they're on a season, their NDAs are typically a minimum of 2 years that they have to stay quiet. But I wonder if Michael is ever going to come forward one day and tell his side of the story. I wish we could get both sides, but to be fair, TLC did try to make that happen because at their last divorce hearing, we saw them try to get a statement from Michael, and he declined, didn't want anything to do with filming or the show. And I was looking up Amy and Tammy and the rest of the siblings on Cameo, and I could not believe how many cameos these people have done. Like Amy, for example, she charges $65 a cameo, and on average her cameos are only like 20 to 28 seconds long. They're not long at all, and she's charging $65 a pop, and she's done over 340. So she's made almost over $22,000 just off cameos alone. Tammy's done over 325 and she charges $50 a pop, so that means she's made over $16,000 off Cameo. And Amanda and Chris, they're both charging $20 a pop, and Chris, he's gotten 253. That is a lot. So it looks like the family is making decent money off Cameo, and this may explain why Tammy and Amy aren't really uploading on YouTube anymore. Like, Tammy has not uploaded on YouTube in years, and Amy still uploads, but not that much, and when she does, it just seems like it's a video she has to do because it's a sponsored video. I feel like they would make more money on YouTube if they upload consistently on there, but I get it. It's harder to do. You have to film long form content, then you got to edit the video compared to just doing a cameo and busting out a 20-30 second video and getting $65 a pop like Amy's doing. That's a lot easier for her to juggle with her having the 2 boys and being a single parent right now. So now I want to talk about the last episode. So they all finally made it to Florida, and Chris wanted to go parasailing. My anxiety was through the roof, not only the whole time for Chris, but for Amy's 2 boys, because the boat was hitting all these waves and rocking side to side, and neither one of the boys were wearing a life jacket, and God forbid they fall in the ocean, because we already know Amy can't swim, and she's not about to be able to help them or do anything. Chris successfully went parasailing, and then we caught up with Caleb, and Caleb is not doing so hot at all because he's upset because he feels like he should be in Pensacola with Tammy for his honeymoon, and oh my gosh, he literally looked like he was knocking on death's door in this interview. He was literally fading in and out of consciousness. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I know the cameraman definitely noticed it because they kept zooming in on his eyes. Caleb was not doing good at all. He was struggling to breathe, he was coughing, and he revealed that he's currently on 2 different breathing treatments a day. And he admits that Tammy's absence hasn't done anything but make his emotional eating worse. And at this point, he's picking food over Tammy. And I think they don't need to be together until he works on his issues, because he's basing his happiness on Tammy being around. And if she isn't around, he can't handle it, and he uses that as an excuse to eat, and that kind of codependency is not healthy. And even if they live together, there's going to be times when she's not around. Like Tammy, since she's lost all this weight, she's been a little traveling queen. Like she's in Georgia this past week. They're just at Disney, and so even if they live together, there's times she's not going to be around, and he has to learn how to be strong without her. And I can at least respect the fact he can be kind of honest. Like he's not fully transparent with Tammy, but at least he's honest with the producers. Like, yeah, I ate like crap today. I'm not following the diet. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Instead, like, remember when Tammy back in the day, when she was just doing bad, and she'd be like, oh yeah, I've been working out, I've been following the diet. Then Tammy would just shrug her shoulders and just look really confused when she would jump on the scale and gain 120 pounds in 2 months. So meanwhile, the whole family, they decided to have a lobster boil to really get into the Florida spirit. So Amy asked Tammy, like, look, which side do you want your son on? So it looks like she's already giving Tammy the father role now that Michael is no longer around. But Tammy said, look, I don't mind it at all. I'll help out with the boys. But she did admit that she's a little annoyed because she feels like Amy sucks at keeping the kids on a schedule. And because of that, the kids are constantly cranky. While they were eating, Amy was like, it's just so hard being out here in Florida, which it always is. It's hard being in a new place with kids, especially when you got kids that young. And she, back at home, she has the comfort of her home where it's child-proofed. And like here in Florida, she's got a big old ocean she's got to worry about. So she's talking about, look, it's scary out here. And she said that she's been pretty much on her toes this whole time. And Amy was like, I'm so glad that they had a pack and play for the kids to sleep in. And then Amanda was like, wait a minute, you didn't bring a pack and play for the kids? Then what did you bring? And Amy just shrugged her shoulders and said nothing. And that's the thing. Amy broke down in the van with Amanda's son, and that van had so much room in it, and Amy didn't put nothing in there for the boys. She didn't bring the boys a stroller, which I feel like, I know Amy has a double stroller because I've seen it on her TikTok and Instagram, and she would have had a double stroller, which it would have fit in the van, and had those boys double strapped in there. That would have fixed a lot of her problems she had. And she didn't bring no toys. We didn't see no toys in the van at all. She didn't bring, it seems like she just brought the bare minimum. Like she brought some clothes, some diapers, and wipes, and that's it. Every single time I go somewhere with my children, I'd rather bring a lot more that I don't end up using than not bringing enough. Hell, just when I go 10 minutes to go to my mom's house, I'm bringing at least like 3 suitcases, and I got my hands full of toys, because you got to think about the kids. And she's not preparing at all for this trip or coming prepared, and then she wonders why her family's constantly giving her advice, because she needs it. And the best chance these boys have, I think, is for Amy. She needs to get some parenting classes or get a nanny who's going to show her how to put these boys on a schedule. When the kids have a routine and know what to expect, they'll be a lot more calmer. But again, the way the kids are acting, it just comes along with having a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. I think the problem with Amy is she would have waited another 6 months. She would have been like, you know what, maybe I should wait on having a baby. Maybe I should listen to the doctor's recommendations, because I feel like when she decided to get pregnant with Glenn, that's when Gage was still in his easy stages, where he wasn't going through his terrible twos yet. So she thought, oh, he's easy, so a new baby's going to be easy. Then she has the baby, and at first it's easy when the baby's not really moving, but by the time Glenn's up and running around, Gage is going through his terrible twos, and now it's chaotic, and Amy don't know how to keep up, and now she's spiraling. And there's mamas out there who have triplets, quadruplets, and they make it work. Like Chris said, you gotta find your rhythm. During the lobster boil, Amy's sitting there and she's eating and she burps right in her baby's poor face. And even her family was getting on to her like, yo, do not do that. And she's just laughing about it. And then she goes in the living room and she's feeding Gage food out of her hand. And the family's like, what the heck? This is an expensive rental home. Bring him to the kitchen. Like, this girl literally has no home training at all. And after dinner, Amy tried to get Glenn to go to bed because he was super fussy, and Amy does what she always does and starts freaking out and crying. So Tammy's trying to talk to her and calm her down and say, hey, go through the steps. You know, is his diaper wet? You know, Tammy shouldn't have to be there to talk her through it on what to do because she freezes up every single time. Like, what's going to happen when there's an actual emergency and Amy's the only one there and she's got to take the wheel and figure things out? You know, you can't break down every single time. Amy starts popping off on Tammy and just doing the absolute most. And it didn't even have to go this far. All she had to just say is like, Tammy, just stop. But she claims she kept telling Tammy to stop and she wasn't listening. I highly doubt that. Amy's really passive and then just suddenly blows up out of nowhere. And she starts blowing up on Tammy and blowing up on Amanda and had the nerve to call Amanda bitch and say F you. And then she literally puts her hands on Amanda and starts shoving her and fighting Amanda. And Amanda handled her real well because Amanda could have put her down on the ground within seconds, but she restrained herself and just did what she could to push Amy back. But Amy had her bleeding and wasn't stopping. And you know, the producers are just sitting there like they weren't even rushing trying to help Amanda whatsoever. Like, this went on for way longer than it should have. And Amy literally had a full-on nervous breakdown in front of the whole family. And even Chris said he's never seen Amy break down and lose it like that before. And I feel like Amy is almost blaming Amanda a little bit for her divorce, and that's why she has so much resentment towards Amanda. And she can't bite the hand that is feeding her because literally Amanda is one of the people that's been helping her the most with her children on top of Tammy. Whenever Gage was crying at the restaurant, who stepped up? Amanda. Whenever Amy came in late from Florida and she needed to sleep in, who stepped up? Amanda. So she puts her hands on Amanda, and then Amanda finally walked off and separated herself. And Chris walks up and stops Amy because Amy says she is going to pack all her bags and she's demanding Amanda's son to drive her back to Kentucky because, you know, she can't drive. And the family's literally leaving 12 hours from then, but she can't wait 12 hours because she's having one of her Amy moments. And Chris was like, Amy, chill out. You're being irrational, you're being stupid and over dramatic. Just chill out. And he told her she needed to stop, but she just would not chill out. She would not take a breath. She would not calm down. And she was demanding that if Amanda's son does not take her home, then she's going to call Michael, which I really doubt Michael's going to come get her. And even the family said, well, Michael, by the time he gets here, we're already going to be leaving. So that doesn't even make any sense. And it just seems like when she gets really upset, she makes really impulsive and irrational decisions. Chris was so nonchalant, though, about getting in Amy's way and trying to calm her down. Like, it definitely seems like this wasn't the first time he's gotten in between his sisters fighting like this before. And Amy is just losing it and says, you guys don't give me a break. I need breaks too. The family's giving her as much of a break as they can. That's just part of being a parent. Once you give birth to your kids, you're not going to break until they're 18. If you want to break, you got to hire a nanny. But Amy should be, you know, happy because she does get breaks when the kids go over to Michael's. It's not like she's having the kids 7 days a week all by herself. And her family's doing as much as they can. She lives with Tammy, and we've seen since she's moved in with Tammy, when Tammy's around, even though she can't get up and actually chase after the boys, she's always got one of the boys in her arms 90% of the time. So Amy freaked out, and then afterwards she had to go calm down for a little bit, and she instantly felt bad about what she did. She wanted to go find Amanda and apologize. When she finally did find Amanda and approach her, Amanda wasn't trying to hear it. And I'm glad she gave her that response, because that is something that Amy shouldn't be let off the hook so easily for, because that is just unacceptable. There's no reason she should have been putting her hands on Amanda after everything Amanda has done for her. And she ended up not going home, I don't think so, after that. But they ended up having to pause filming for a little bit because of this fight. But then they returned a few months later because Caleb ends up passing away. And so that's going to be the season finale this coming week. And I can't believe the season finale is already here. This season went by so fast and I'm upset about it. But I get it. They want the season finale to lead up to the most dramatic, craziest event. And Caleb's passing is definitely the most craziest part of this season, besides Amy Michael's divorce and her meltdown. But it's gonna be really sad seeing the whole funeral and seeing Tammy break down and cry, because I can't even imagine the pain she's going through right now. I hope Amy's able to take a step back at the funeral and in this next episode, from being the one crying all the time, and let Tammy have her moment to grieve and express her emotion she has with her husband's passing. But that's it for this video, guys. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.